Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to a brand new podcast, the Noisy Neighbours podcast, episode 1. Myself, Alex Udell, my younger brother Christian. Christian, how are we doing today?
Yeah, man, not too bad. I mean,
Yeah.
rough weekend as usual. What I'm accustomed to being a City fan these days, somehow.
Yeah. I think it'd be good to just do a bit of an introduction, really, on sort of why we're bothering doing this and the sort of our relationship as brothers and sort of what the pod's going to be about.
Cool, definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah, the name of the podcast, Noisy Neighbours. So it's kind of linked to both United City. I'm a United fan. You're a City fan. We're brothers. So obviously quite a little bit unique. Fergie very famously labelled you the Noisy Neighbours, and after much deliberation of a few names, we kind of settled on this.
Yeah.
So it's going to be we're going to deep dive into both clubs from both perspectives and bit of an all-round football pod as well. At the end. So
Yeah, it was a bit of an interesting childhood for myself, obviously, growing up being a City fan in the era where Fergie was, I mean, you were probably one of your most dominant eras. So having an older brother that could wind me up on tap was not the easiest.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, obviously, Now we're like a little bit older. I'm, we take the high road, or you take the high road a little bit. When we were
yes,
younger, that wasn't always the case, and
yeah,
I obviously regret some of the wind-ups because I didn't know we were going to turn into the biggest. Um, the biggest social experiment of a football club I can probably ever have imagined, which is just ongoing at the minute. We're 10 years in and we're still going with it. So obviously it was fun as kids and we fell out loads, and now obviously we want to sort of talk about it like we do. We talk every day about football. Why not record it? If people
yeah,
listen, great. If not, just a hobby for us, really. And
yeah.
maybe people might like it. If not, no problem. We'll still continue to do it because we enjoy talking about footy. I enjoy talking to my brother. So here we are.
Definitely. I mean, it's a good time to start as well, isn't it? Because it's a really interesting period. I mean, you've got Manchester
Yeah.
United who, I mean, you've been going through, like you just mentioned, you've been going through this spell for a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
post Sir Alex, it's been
Mm.
you've had a tough run, haven't you?
Yeah, for sure.
For
Yeah.
us, we've obviously enjoyed our most dominant period,
Mm.
but now we're coming to this weird stage where, you know,
Yeah.
well, we'll obviously get into it, but
Yeah.
things obviously aren't running smoothly.
Well, I mean, obviously that's a pretty good segue. I think obviously you played first yesterday, so we might as well have a go get
Yeah,
into obviously get into the Villa game and obviously a bit of a deep dive on sort of the bigger issues surrounding this horrendous run. It's obviously Guardiola's
yeah.
worst ever run. I mean, as a club, it must be. I mean, I don't know the stats exactly, but you probably got to think it's your worst run, maybe post Mansour. Really, I mean,
Yeah, no,
which
I
is
saw a
which is
stat the other day, and to be
yeah,
honest, this was before the Aston Villa game as well.
yeah,
In fact, I think it was before the United game, which obviously we've ended up losing both of them. And it said it was the worst run since Stuart Pearce days.
yeah. No,
I
sorry,
mean,
yeah, I did hear that. Yeah,
when we're talking about when you were winding me up as a kid, it was the Stuart Pearce
I
days. So the
know.
fact we're at that point is it's
Yeah,
just insane.
it is. It's crazy. I mean, obviously, I mean, going into the season, I think that. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? You're looking back and like everybody by default was like, City will probably win it again, and
Yeah,
I mean, now you're in a top four battle ultimately, and that's obviously a big talking point. But I mean, obviously the Villa game yesterday, and I think we both, obviously we were speaking before kick off. We both thought it was a tough one. The way City are playing just didn't. Neither of us saw you going there getting anything
no.
really. What I mean, how did you see it? How did you see it? And was there any sort of what's your takeaways from it? Obviously,
It just more of the same. Unfortunately, we've got this system where we have Rico Lewis playing in a position where we used to have David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne in pockets.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's just not a sustainable
yeah,
way of playing. We create
yeah,
no chances. We
no.
ultimately get to the edge of the box. We run out of ideas. We've got no goals from the width. It's just the
Mm.
same old. It's boring at the moment. What did
Yeah.
you think? Did you watch the game?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, I mean, I thought first half was. I thought it was. I thought you were better than the first half was better than the United game. I thought the United game.
Mm.
Um, I mean, you didn't create anything. It wasn't. It was like you didn't. At least you had control. I thought there was moments where I could see a little bit of the old possession and territory. But again, I mean, the start was just like, a one-on-one in the first 15 seconds because Gvardiol switches off. It's like,
Yeah,
how we, what, this is what obviously must do managers' heads in, and obviously as fans and yourself. And like, you think, okay, we're on this awful run. It's a tough place to go. Not many people are going to go and win there anyway. You
yeah,
come out, and the first 15 seconds, Gvardiol basically hands Durant a one-on-one, which he kind of chokes a little bit. I think it came a bit too early for him.
yeah.
And you're looking at it thinking, sorry, 5 minutes ago we was in the dressing room, and are you not like sort of ready to go for this game? Like,
Yeah, how can it go bad so quickly? I mean,
you're not even
I
at
was
home.
saying to you,
Like,
I've
when
been
the
saying
pressure
to you religiously, really, on this that we have this system where we get so far out the pitch and we
Mm.
can't create anything. I mean, I've texted you. I think it was like 10 minutes ago. I said we haven't created a chance, and I don't mean a big chance. I mean we haven't created an actual half chance. There was
Yeah.
nothing. It was so bad. Pep has got serious work to do. Obviously, we've got to go into the transfer market to sort out the Rodri issue. That's an obvious. But
Mm.
I think there's bigger issues, mate. I think
Yeah.
we've got players like Bernardo who we used to be able to rely on. I can't see that we're able to do that anymore. I think we need a player that can get some sort of output on the wing, whoever
Yeah.
that may be. We need to dip into the market to look at that area because I'm a fan of Savio, but no goal so far for us. It's killing
Yeah.
us, man. And
Yeah.
same with Doku. Grealish obviously hasn't. Grealish just doesn't score.
Mm.
It's a big area that we've got to look at. We've got Oscar Bob coming back, but to be honest, we need someone that's coming in and ready at
Mm.
that level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing in it. The output alone is, you obviously some players are not stat driven anyway. I mean, Grealish has never. I mean, obviously there's been regression from his Villa days. I think we spoke the other day about. I told you I saw a Twitter sort of clip of him at Villa, and
Mm,
he's just nowhere near that player. He's not even the same in the same ilk.
yeah,
He's completely changed his whole game, and obviously Guardiola has probably had something to do with that. But at the same time, at some point as a player, you got to go, okay, right. Well, he wants me to recycle possession and maintain maintain the ball, not take too many risks. But at what point do you go? I've not scored for 12 months. Like
yeah,
at the end of the
exactly.
day,
I mean, we've spoke about this, haven't we? And it's a bit like I feel a slightly lazy stereotype from opposition fans. They go, it's the easy option to just blame the manager. Oh, he's ruined Jack Grealish. The thing is, Pepper's always given his wingers freedom. Like we've
yeah,
seen this in the past. If you
yeah,
look, even going back to the Barcelona days that you
mm,
saw with Pedro, you saw with
mm,
Sterling, Sane, Doku now. So it's Savio.
mm,
I think it's a bit of a lazy stereotype, really.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, at the end
Grealish
of
is,
the day, there's been more wingers that have been successful under Guardiola than
yeah,
not. And it wasn't just that. I mean, it's like you said, it's a lazy take because in the highlights as well, he looks physically different. He looks heavier now, and he looks slower.
yeah, he
And
can't.
we've
He,
seen
he,
this
he struggles to beat a man. He's very
exactly.
useful in certain games. Don't get me wrong. Like for instance, if we go away to a big side, like we go away to
Yeah,
Anfield, I like to see him in the lineup.
yeah, of course.
It's a difficult reason
Yeah,
as to say
I would
why
have took
because I
him to
don't
the
really think
Euros.
he's going to produce anything going forward. But
Mm,
he does massively help in transitions. He keeps the ball. He wins fouls, which I know that seems a bit of a low bar
yeah,
considering we're Manchester City champions
mm,
of England. You've got to be, you've got to be raising the bar a little bit. But I think where we're at the moment, that's massive for us. And he has always produced in the big games where it's carrying the ball forward, winning
yeah,
fouls, tracking back. He works hard. That's why Pep does like him.
yeah. I mean, I
But
thought
it's
he
getting
was
to the
okay.
point where
Yeah.
we've got Erling Haaland is the only guy that can score. You're now looking at your marquee £100 million signing, and
Mm.
you are a bit like, come on, what are you doing?
Well, that's it. I mean, when he was bought, he was the luxury buy because even if he was awful, you've still got your best players. Now, your best players are aging and they probably need replacing. And now it's like, wow, do we need to replace Grealish as well? It's like
Yeah,
you're
100%.
faced with the reality of Father Time has caught up to Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne. Bernardo Silva's probably getting close to it, maybe just an accumulation of minutes for him and his play
Yeah.
style. He covers a lot of ground, and Edison as well. Obviously a separate issue being the goalkeeper. But now you're looking at your Doku's, your Grealishes, your Kovacic, those sort of players. Now you're thinking. I mean, it would have been Alvarez, but obviously that sale has. He's gone, hasn't he? So now it's like, well, okay, they're going. You can't be annoyed at Walker, De Bruyne, Bernardo. They've been amazing contributors. Okay, people can take the piss a little bit out of them and like laugh, but that's the thing of it's like, I don't know, I don't really know what else sort of they can do. They've ran their race, some of them, and look, the 32, 33, De Bruyne's had a ton of injuries. Now, like you said, I mean, Foden as well, obviously, Foden did get the goal yesterday. I'm assuming that's your biggest positive.
I mean, it's
It's not.
astonishing, like, that I'm sat here saying to you the biggest positive in the last probably month is Phil Foden getting a consolation goal at Villa Park, but that is
Yeah.
honestly where we're at.
Yeah.
If that seems,
No.
you know, I think honestly that's huge for us. As stupid as it sounds, we have no one else that can score goals. Obviously, last year, player of the season, we need that guy stepping up. He's now our main guy. You know what I mean? Because Haaland, as good of a goal scorer as he is, we all know what Haaland is. That is what you're going to get. You're going to get 6, 7 touches. One's going to end up in the net. But if you're talking about general play, he's not going to influence the game in any sort of capacity.
No.
You need your Phil Foden dictating play. And if you've not got that, we are left with side-to-side passes from Kovacic, Rico Lewis, and Gundogan. Gundogan used to be a creator. He used to be able to make driving runs into the box. He was good for a goal. Them days are gone. It's sad, but like you say, time catches up to all players. And I didn't disagree with the signing as well. I thought at the end of the day, it's not the Pep way to go back, but the market was a bit dry. An opportunity presented itself. I didn't completely disagree.
Yeah.
However, Rodri got injured, and now we're faced with this DM role where we've got, a rotation between Gundo and Kovacic, them two sort of playing a double pivot, and it's just not working at all.
But I mean, like that, so you're losing midfield battles, and a lot of teams have got tough midfields these days. I mean, them yesterday with Onana in there and Kamara, they're very, very imposing. And Guardiola touched on it in his post match where he's like, they're very physical in there, and he's saying that with a feeling of we're getting overpowered. And Guardiola's never been the type to stack his team with athletes, but when you have 70% of the ball, you those duels aren't as important because you're not having to battle as much now. They're getting bullied essentially, and you look at, I mean, this is just obviously a bit of a Foden link as well, but it's like the physical aspect of 4 titles in a row, deep Champions League runs. There's that aspect as well, and Neville has touched on it as well in the studio about when United had those big runs, and it's like you do just hit that wall, and it's almost like best players father time. You've got that sort of fatigue in the team of like 4 titles in a row, and your fringe-ish players are struggling, and it's like all come together at once, and you're 6th. Man City is 6th under Guardiola. Has he? I mean, probably should have looked this up before, but has he ever come outside the top 2 or 3? I bet he's come.
Maybe his first season at City. Do you know what? I think his first year at City was he 3rd?
Was he 3rd, or did he scrape 2nd in the end? Anyway, I mean, he's never come 4th. Bayern and Barca was 1st and 2nd. I think Bayern, he won the league every year, obviously, but I think Barca, he came 2nd once to that Madrid Mourinho team. And City, okay, maybe we'll have to have a look after this, but I think he's definitely come 1st or 2nd after that first year, mainly 1st. So to be looking at this, he must be like in a complete situation now where he's like, never been in this situation, scrapping for top 4, and it's going to be fascinating to see how he sort of deals with this and also elevates you, because you don't want to miss out on. No, who wants to miss out on top 4? I mean, Guardiola in the Europa League. And another thing I did listen to on I can't remember, it was on YouTube somewhere. Somebody made a great point of, because he's already re-upped with the contract, I'm not saying he would anyway, but he can't walk now. He can't. If things get tough, he's got to now try and sort this out.
Yeah.
Which is mad, isn't it? To think that like his actual first challenge now is to actually sort the mess. It's crazy. Go on. Sorry, where were you up to there?
Yeah, so I think, like you were just saying, he's never been in this situation. I think a big thing is Pep's gonna have to go into the market. It's like in the summer, I was looking at Chelsea buying these players, and one player City have always sort of flirted with was Pedro Neto, and like I'd have loved that signing personally.
Yeah,
Getting goals from the width is massive, and it's always been a big part of how Pep plays. And it just seems like we've strayed away from it. We've got these dribblers who are like unproven goal scorers,
yeah,
and it was okay because we had Doku that came in
yeah,
last year, so it didn't really matter that he popped up with like 3-4 goals. It was like, oh, it's fine. But then slowly we've gone away from. We always had like a Sterling, a Bernardo, Gundo that had always chip in with more goals. Now they fell off, and we're looking at these wingers who can't get numbers, and we're like, where are the goals coming from other than Haaland?
I know. I mean, as well. A thing around Haaland is that you're having Haaland as your obviously number one striker and goal output is he determines how you have to play on the setup of the team. You have to be able to feed him for him to be effective. This isn't an Aguero who can create his own shot. Like you said before, 10, 12 touches a game, and you're hoping that one of them is off crosses, cutbacks, headers, stuff like that, because otherwise he's gonna render ineffective. And that's the thing as well. You've got like your wingers, like you said, the output. They've also got to be able to land crosses like De Bruyne's been doing, because De Bruyne now probably not going to be there next year, right? He's obviously not really got the legs to do it this year. Haaland's got no service. I mean, Salah's gone above him in the goal scoring. Didn't Haaland have 7 goals in his first 3 games?
Yeah, ridiculous. They've slowed up.
7 in his first 3. I mean, are we 18, 19 in now? And so that means he must have 8 in his next 16, maybe something like that.
Yeah,
it's been obviously he's still second top scorer, but it's a trend, isn't it? And you're looking at this thinking, okay, started off because De Bruyne started the season well, didn't he? I think in that was it West Ham away when Haaland got a hat trick, and I think De Bruyne was just absolutely on one that.
Yeah, we've had a bit. We've had. The thing is with Haaland, I actually feel really sorry for him because he has genuinely got nothing behind him creating. No. Like I say, it's the same story every time. I remember texting you about that Arsenal game, which was just a disaster at home. We're getting to the edge of the box, we're dominating possession, and we're having defenders tee off from 20 yards because they're running out of ideas. Diaz keeps slapping it. This is not sustainable to go on for a season. These pockets, like I said, where we used to have players like David Silva that could unlock tight spaces. Listen, I don't dislike Rico Lewis, but I also don't know what he offers in them positions. Like Pep saying he's like a mini Philip Lahm. I just don't buy it.
No,
I really don't see where he's coming from. All I see with Lewis, it's like yesterday. He can wriggle out of a tight space and he can make it look good. He'll do that once or twice a game. It looks neat, but these kind of things, they look neat when you've got other good players that are bossing the game, you know what I mean, and you're winning matches. If we're relying on him in this inverted role where he's got to be the creator, like a Trent, what are we doing? He's not capable of that.
No, he's not.
I've always trusted Pep. I've always trusted Pep, and I still do trust Pep in the transfer market. We can't go away from, or we can't shy away from saying there has been a few misses recently in the market. And they're now catching. I feel like they're now catching up to us.
They are, exactly, because like I touched on it earlier with you sort of your best player situation that they need replacing. Like that's just facts. Father Time has caught up completely on them, and the idea is though that you don't want to be faced with. I mean, the pressure's on to hit on them anyway. I mean, it's not even if Grealish, Savio, Doku were playing to the best of their abilities, they've not got the talent level of your best players now. So it's like if you try and replace De Bruyne, Silva, Gundogan, Walker. If you try and replace them and miss, this is exactly where you get to. And obviously, like Chelsea have shown that they have looks like they've maybe hit on four signings now, and they're reaping the rewards now from another year on. And obviously, you're looking at your club situation, and you're like, the pressure's massively on now. To go into that market next summer. Maybe January can give you something, but obviously it's the next summer where you're going to spend. I'd imagine spend big. And where's that money going to go? And that's.
We've notoriously never done any business or little business in January, but this year it's imperative. Like they've got no choice, because if they don't, we're going to finish ninth.
Yeah,
And I'm not exaggerating or like creating a rage bait. I genuinely think the trajectory we are heading down the table, because we can't score and we can't defend. That's not.
Yeah. That's what Pep said.
That's not a blueprint for success, is it?
No, it's not. No, yeah. So it's going to be really interesting. Obviously, is it Leicester Boxing Day? No, Everton.
Yes. Is it Everton next, I think?
Everton, then Leicester, isn't it, over Christmas? I'd tell you, the were actually okay yesterday. I didn't see all of it, but I saw clips of the Chelsea game. Obviously, they're going to look at that 0-0 classic Dyche part of the bus. They created chances yesterday. So did Chelsea, to be fair. But yeah, obviously, you know what you're getting with Dyche, and you look at it and you look at the way City are playing, and you think, Dyche could shut us out.
I don't. You know what I mean? The thing is, I don't think it matters who we're playing at the moment, because all you've got to do is pretty much put a block wall there that don't let us walk through you and create. Yeah. You've actually got to make a mistake, really, to let City score at the moment. That's how clueless we are going forward.
I know.
So the lack of creativity is that bad. If the opposition don't have a lapse in concentration or make a mistake, like that Foden goal, sloppy rebounds, Foden bags, good finish. But other than that, at the moment, we're not really going to score. And then in the reverse, we also cannot defend. So it's one pass and someone's clean through. And this is happening every single match. It's happening every half.
I know. I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing from Tielemans, but also Stones charging out the back and Morgan Rogers just wandering through. It is. I mean, obviously, you want to. I know Guardiola did give Villa credit on that, and it was fantastic from Tielemans. I mean, he's a top player. How he's never been snapped up, I don't know. I mean, I remember seeing him early days of Tielemans. He's been around ages.
I always thought he was going to get a big move,
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, obviously he's at Villa now and in the Champions League. It's not like we're, drumming him down too much.
He's done well.
But he's just a solid player. Like, always turns up 7 out of 10, and I obviously great. Just before we move on to the red half of Manchester, which is going to be interesting after yesterday. Morgan Rogers, ex-City. Obviously, Palmer's the biggie that you look at. Any thoughts on him? And obviously, I don't know the history. I must admit, I don't know the history behind Rogers. Until yesterday, I didn't know he was ex-City. But just any thoughts on, obviously, seeing him, like he looks a very good player, doesn't he? And obviously, pace, power. Yeah. Something that he would be playing. He'd be starting for you right now, wouldn't he?
Rogers has been brilliant, and even in the Champions League, he's put some serious performances in that lad, and he looks great. I mean, he's going to be knocking on the door for an England performance.
Yeah, I know. And Guardiola said that another top player for England. Did he? I mean, I'm guessing he went early. He never made a senior appearance, did he, for City?
Yeah, I believe he went to Southampton. I'm pretty sure he went to Southampton. Oh no, sorry. No.
You mean
Middlesbrough?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think he went to Middlesbrough. But he obviously did well. He got his move. I think Villa paid quite a bit. Didn't they pay about 15 mil for him?
Right.
But they raised a few eyebrows, but it's paying off, isn't it? Same with Palmer. I'll be honest, we sold him for 40 million. It's easy for everyone now to go, oh, it's a bad sell by City. But at the time, everyone was like 40 million for Palmer. What is this City academy thing producing? Like, how is everyone spending so much? Because at the same time, we'd sold that keeper for 20 million to Burnley, hadn't we? James Trafford.
Yeah.
So there was a few sales where people were like, "What is going on?"
Like City were farming the market,
but he's looking brilliant.
Yeah, it was like City were farming the market, but obviously, I mean, Palmer obviously did. He was there or thereabouts. I know he played in it.
Yeah, he was on the peripheral, and he was bagging. To be fair, I mean,
he scored on the Super Cup and Community Shield
against Arsenal.
So obviously Rodgers not as much, but yeah, I just thought it was interesting that obviously you're looking at sort of your situation at the minute and a pace and power ball carrier, essentially was on your books and has gone and it's obviously Palmer him would probably be the two wide players right now.
Yeah, it's weird at the time as
It's just
well. It was
crazy.
like we were kind of led to believe the reason Palmer was let go was we were stacked, which at the time I suppose we were Mahrez, but then a year later Mahrez went to Saudi, and then suddenly
Yeah.
we're finding ourselves having to go and buy Savio from a sister club who, yeah, he had a very good season,
Yeah.
but the lad is what 20 years of age.
Yeah,
It's
it's obviously risky, but yeah. So I think we can I think we can wrap it up. Obviously we'll reconvene post Everton game. Hopefully maybe Leicester. Depends. I know there's a bit of a bunch up of fixtures in there, so we'll see whether
yeah,
we get to whether we get to speak again after the next game or after the next two. But yeah, I think let's get into United because obviously. We had the Derby win, which sucks for you, great for me.
mm,
However, it might as well not have happened because here's the thing: you go. I know. I said to you, I thought United played pretty well at City. I know people said they were rubbish, but and that City were just worse. But I honestly thought they went there and did pretty well. I thought they had good control for once at an away game, which is something new for us because even in the wins, it's always been counter attacking.
yeah,
Probably around the 30% possession mark to be around 50-50 possession was progress from my perspective. And obviously it's coming from the new manager because the previous two never bothered to try and even dominate the ball away at any big team. Certainly City. I mean, we were never going to go and do
yeah,
that. So I was pleased. And then obviously we had the Carabao game, which probably came at the wrong time because it's like, do you rest? Do you go for momentum? And he kind of did neither. Amorim kind of half
mm,
rested and we lost. So it was like, right, okay.
yeah.
So we didn't get the momentum. We went out of the quarter final and then laid an absolute egg yesterday in a game that we could have jumped. I think because the table's so sort of tight mid-table, we could have jumped 5 places
Yeah.
and just
What
get.
was you expecting? Just on a a bit of a sidetrack. What was you expecting with Bournemouth coming in? Obviously,
Yeah,
they've had some season and they actually look a really good side. They
yeah, they
put us to
do.
the sword.
They do. I know. And I don't want to be disrespectful to Bournemouth, right? They're obviously a tough out, and I'm not saying that. It's not even about losing, to be honest. And obviously, it wasn't on. You didn't see the game yesterday, but they turned up right. And if Bournemouth beat us, whatever, like you said, they are doing well. Are they sixth or fifth or something anyway? And
Yeah,
they beat you recently and stuff like that. And they are a tough team to play. I think they beat Arsenal, didn't they, as well? So it's like the losing, it's all about, like Amarin's mentioned it a lot. Forget the result, focus on the performance. Well, let's focus on the performance then, because yesterday you go and you go out on the pitch on the back of, okay, forget the Carabao. Your last win was you got a last minute win in the derby. How do you then go out at home against Bournemouth, right? Whether they fancy it or not, can't pass the ball. Can't. Malacia, ball rolling under his foot in the first 5 minutes off a simple pass. Maguire fouling every single ball into Evan Nielsen, fouling him. Can't. Maguire's passing. Honestly, Ahmad sloppy, Mainu sloppy, Fernandez, peak Fernandez wastefulness, and it's
yeah,
like, how can you all lay stinkers in a game where you're looking at this and go, we're 12th, right, 13th maybe now, I don't know. We can get out the bottom half. We can actually, have a bit more respectability. We would have gone 2 points behind City yesterday. I'm not saying this should be the main goal of the season, but at least it
yeah,
looks at it and goes, okay, well, we sat to manage them with 2 points behind City. To go and turn up there yesterday, and I can't even explain to you why they were that bad. It's like, it's actually worrying that they can just all be that rubbish. And players can have good games, bad games. That's fine. The main thing for me yesterday was, it's like the first 5 minutes were tough and they just collapsed completely under the pressure of playing at home. And I thought about this. I was like, we went to Arsenal, looked pretty solid, lost on two corners. Went to City, were very solid, won the game. Home against Bournemouth, home against Forest, looked like the world's on the shoulders. Like, don't even pass it to me. It's like, how does Amorim shake this pressure that they can't perform at home? They cannot do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I can't even tell you how poor some of the performances were. And this is like even, and we actually still created chances. I think again won the XG battle. Whether I know people hate that stat, but the finishing, it's rank finishing. Fernandez just lumping it wide in great opportunities. 3-on-2s again, 3-on-2s and can't even carve out a great chance. Xerxes starts awful. Hoyland comes on, looks better. Thursday night, Hoyland awful. Xerxes comes on, looks better. What is going on? It's just...
Yeah, I think it's like me and you spoke, obviously, about Amorim, and I actually like him, but you're going to get these results. Like, and to be honest, mate, I'd expect them for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
you're going to have some good results, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I think weirdly you're going to do better against the better sides.
I know.
Because I think it suits you more. However, I think at the moment he doesn't trust the players he's putting in the system that he wants to play. So you're in a situation where he's going to just have to get to the summer. He needs to get his own players in.
Of course. Look, this isn't an Amorim. Look, I mean, there is things that I'll get to Amorim in a minute. But obviously, if you just take a step back and look at the bigger situation of these players were rubbish in a 4-2-3-1 conventional system for a manager that signed them. So they were 12th or whatever. We were bottom half under Ten Hag, hence why Ten Hag got sacked. To think that we're going to plug them into a system they're not familiar with and improve is obviously unlikely. Now, the flip side to that is, do you go, well, don't play him in that system? But the argument is you bring in a guy who wants to play this system and has shown signs of improvement. Certainly possession and going away from home it has. Goals conceded is just another set piece. I mean, it's unbelievable. Honestly, I think 40% of the goals or something under Amorim have been set pieces. Again,
it's the one thing that annoys me the most because it's like the basics of football, man.
This is the thing as well. You know, it's not just the set pieces. Yesterday, and Malacia was. Oh, he was just appalling. He was awful yesterday. I know he's been.
How was Mazraoui as well? I mean, I saw the, like you said, I missed the game, but I saw the highlights and I saw that penalty concede. It was like a FIFA penalty, like one of them where they passed you and you just like, I'll take them anyway.
This is the thing. Look, Malacia's stinker wasn't a shock to me. I don't think he's great anyway, and he's been out for 2 years. I mean, just on the actual set piece yesterday. Their right winger, I can't remember who it was, might have been Semenyo or Cliver, I can't remember, has the ball back to Malacia. Malacia charges in, knocks him over, free kick, score off it. It's not even just the marking, it's the stupidity of giving these goals away. That's like, it's almost like Rashford at Arsenal when he gave that corner away trying to chip the ball up and volley it. Right, we can't defend set pieces, that's one issue. Let's not give them away cheaply. It's like, we're doing both. We're giving cheap free kicks and corners away and can't defend them. It's like the IQ. I say it to my friend, like one of my best mates, United fan, and he's our mate as well. I say it to him all the time. We used to be the smartest team in the league, IQ, right? We are now. I honestly think there's an argument we're the dumbest team in the league across the board, all of them. I don't think the IQ in this team is the lowest it's ever been, and obviously, I think the captain being Fernandez sort of echoes that, really.
He spearheads it, unfortunately.
I mean, But again, we'll try and I obviously don't want to just go too much in here. But you touched on Mazraoui. Yeah, this is just sums it up perfectly. Best player probably this season has been Mazraoui.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm watching this yesterday. He was okay. Look, I mean, he certainly wasn't one of the worst. Winger gets past him and he just legs him up. Like you said, it's like on FIFA when you're just desperate and you're 5-0 down and you just leg someone up in the box because...
You're like, I'm not having another one going against me.
This happened at 1-0 at home when we're trying to get back into the game. And another one that I thought was a fantastic signing. And look, everyone has a gaff, and Mazraoui, you let him off. But it just seems like this team just gives you little presents when you don't need them. The best players do. And,
Yeah.
it was just...
What would you say, like, from your perspective, what would you say to keep... I mean, he's got a huge job in the summer. I mean, and starting in Jan as well, if United choose to dip in seriously into the Jan market.
Yeah.
Where would you say, like, your spine that you need to keep? I know you're a fan of Ugarte.
Yeah.
Who do you keep as your spine? Who do you build around?
I mean, this is obviously probably the wrong day to ask me this question, because after yesterday I would have sold them all. I'm not even joking. I'm serious. It was
Welcome to my world, baby.
some of them. I mean, look, you try and take a breath and not go. Obviously, I'm sure if any of my friends listen to this, or your mates, and some of these players turn into amazing players, I'll regret saying something. So you're trying to be, an absolute stinker at home to Bournemouth. It's hard to not, just say sell. But yeah, I mean, obviously you look at. I mean, I think rather than looking at individually, I want to look at, like, say, Mainu and Ugarte should be good, right? However, it isn't, and this is a big issue. And yesterday, Mainu was at fault for one of the goals, stupidly trying to play a chipped pass when he had a simple pass on, and just generally not reaching the heights. And obviously he played a lot of football, he went to the Euros, didn't get a pre-season, been injured. You have to obviously allow him a little bit of slack. The bigger picture with Mainu is, though, it's like, can he play in a two-man midfield? Because if this guy, if Amarin ain't going to shift, and he doesn't play Mainu as one of these two number 10s, what do we do? Because if him and Ugarte's going to play because he has to, because he is in the ilk of what we need in there. If Mainu can't play next to him, what do we do? Because in my opinion, I don't know what you think. I think Mainu is a 4-3-3 midfielder.
Yeah, massively.
I don't think Iniesta could play in a two-man midfield. He never had to. I'm not obviously saying Mainu's Iniesta.
It's no criticism of the player itself. It's just they suit what they suit. Do you know what I mean?
And this is obviously early days still, but at some point we've got to see something from these two, because, at the minute I'm thinking stick Casemiro in there with Ugarte and try and get some control, a bit more control. I know at City it worked okay, to be fair to them both. After Mount got injured, it wasn't terrible, but them yesterday, it was like, I know you didn't see it. It wasn't just the errors, the individual errors. It was the open midfield again. The Ten Hag open midfield, where anyone who can run a reasonable 100 metres will run straight through. It was like that. Yeah. Honestly, it was like that. So and it's.
You mean like that Wolves game where you catfished us into signing Nunes?
Exactly. I know. I mean, that's the thing.
Cheers for that.
Yeah. But this is the thing. It wasn't Ten Hag, and it wasn't Mount and Fernandes in there. It was Mainu and Ugarte. So that's the big thing for me. And then obviously, there is players that I think will be good enough who were awful yesterday, and that's probably you've got to try and take a breath. But at the same time, there's players that played yesterday that need to be gone. They're not good enough. And then Garnacho comes on with his little cameo after this. Obviously Amarin's trying to spark a sort of reaction from him. Comes on and stinks the gaff out worse than the players that started. And you know my thoughts on Garnacho. I think he's one of the most overrated. And we've had a few out the academy. I think he's up there. I think he's really up there with what this fan base thinks he is. He is nowhere near that talent-wise. And he's got an attitude issue. So
I think that's the big thing, isn't it? With Garnacho, you do seem to get moments, and I think me and you do differ on him a little bit. I cut him a little bit more slack, but maybe it's because you watch him more closely. So naturally he will annoy you more if you see things you don't like. Whereas I'll see these moments, and I'm like, there's a player there.
Yeah.
But this attitude problem is really bad, and it's rife with Manchester United.
Yeah.
I don't know what has happened where, unfortunately, I think this Rashford getting this 300 bags a week, that's a huge issue. Because now he's thinking out the gaff and has been for a long time. on and off the field, I think he's creating issues.
Yeah.
Really, you had Sancho before that.
You know what I think I have got, and it's a good segue into this because I want to just as well with the Mainu situation that seen yesterday on Twitter that there's like, and it could be rival fans with, you know, pretending to be United fans on Twitter and saying, you know, oh, you know, another one that's like going to flop and stuff like that, and then you've got United fans who are United fans going, oh, the fan base is turning on Mainu now, it's his turn, right? And it's all a bit of a circus on Twitter. However, you do look at the social media impact, and you have to think that's had an impact on Rashford. It's definitely had an impact on Garnacho, because he's come out and said it when he scored the other week and wouldn't celebrate. So he's already saying, you're getting to me. United need to now manage the players better as a club. And it's like, if you can't handle a nobody on Twitter with a picture, with not even showing their face on their Twitter account, they've got a picture of Ronaldo.
Picture of a car.
Yeah. Or just a fan account that pretends he likes Ericsson, for example, or a nobody, or a Ugarte fan account. If you can't handle somebody that isn't willing to show their face on Twitter, hammering you, saying that you're playing rubbish and that's affecting your game, get off social media then.
Yeah, you shouldn't be on there.
If you can't manage it, because I'm telling you now, Garnacho's been affected by it. He's not this bad. And however good or bad I think he is, he's not this bad where he can't do anything. Rashford's completely fell off. I mean, I don't know what's happened to him. And now you're thinking, okay, is this going to happen with Mainu? Because he is legitimately good. I mean...
Oh, yeah. We both agree. We both agree on that.
Rashford's inconsistent. He's reached some heights, but he's an inconsistent player. But his skill set leans to that. He's not technically secure, perfect winger, is he? He's a direct, unpredictable dribbler, and he strikes it well from time to time. Mainu was technically good, and he's a smart player. He looks like a proper good footballer. United have got to manage this. Is the social media stuff like? Is it getting to you? Well, as a club, they've got to look after these people. Garnacho's snapping at fans as he's walking into the ground because they said, "Work on your first touch." What is going on?
It can't be happening. I mean, the social media aspect as well is these guys have got to take the rough with the smooth, because as much as you're getting hate off, like you say, these nobody fan accounts, you're also getting overhyped by the complete opposite spectrum.
It gives
you can't have it one way and not the other. At the end of the day, when you scored that overhead kick against Everton, you're happy to repost that and take the plaudits. So you can't have it the other way when you drop a stinker. And also, I mean, you can't, as a young player, I don't understand how you can be being dropped for an attitude problem at Man United. Like this, this did not happen, and this could not happen under Fergie, because you were gone.
You were gone, exactly.
It wasn't a case of this needs to improve. It was a case of, if you've got this problem, you go in and play your football somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh, look at Pogba. Fergie got shut of him, didn't he?
Yeah, and to be honest, we saw with Pogba, everyone was going, oh, what a mistake that was. They then buy him back for 100 million. And we were then starting to see the same sort of things raise their ugly head as to why Fergie made that cut. You know what I mean?
Got worse. Was signing for 100 million. I'm not. I mean, obviously he wasn't. He was probably one of the better signings somehow. That speaks volumes of the recruitment. But
have you seen that? Have you seen that interview recently with Pogba? He's coming out and he's like talking shit on Wayne Rooney.
Is he?
Yeah.
I haven't actually.
Like you say, he referred to that thing. Rooney came out and he was laughing about.
Oh, the dancing.
No, he weren't laughing. He was basically slating him, and I think Lingard were dancing the day after a defeat. Yeah. And he was going, it wasn't true, but it's like, well, we're looking at it.
I mean, there's two things here, isn't there, with the players, and it's like it's sort of the attitude, but also just generally, are you good enough as a footballer to play for United? And I do think that I just don't think Garnacho is good enough. Look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Whatever, I'll come out here and say I am. But I just don't see it. He lacks serious pace. Can't cross. Not really a great shooter. He had a 1-on-1 yesterday. You've probably not seen it. Hoyland played him through 1-on-1. seen harder pass backs, to be honest. The keeper just caught it, didn't even parry it. Clean through.
Really?
And this is the thing, and I've told you about the XG winning it yesterday. It's because Fernandez and Garnacho had a 1-on-1 each yesterday.
Mm.
Rubbish shots. And this is so. Yeah, look, we'll see how
Going
it
back
comes
to that
out.
then, with the question before, so who would you? I mean, I can read between the lines with Garnacho that he's not going to be a part of. Well,
Yeah.
you don't think he should be a part of going forward.
Yeah,
What about Rashford? Are you happy to see him?
yeah, he's got to
See
go.
him move on.
Yeah, he's got to go. I mean, even at his best, he's inconsistent. So to me, it doesn't matter. Like look, is he the absolute worst? No, but ultimately, we're not going to win a league title with him starting because he can go on I say 6 months. He can go on an 18-month spell where he's rubbish, as we're in right now. So.
And he's got too big of an ego to play a squad player role.
Yeah,
so.
I also do think there is talk that I think going back to the Ollie days, and this is confirmed by the way, he did play with injuries and serious ones. I think he had a back problem for ages and he played with it. And for a guy who relies on athleticism, I think it's probably going to catch up to him quicker. I know he's 27. I'm not saying he's getting on at 27, obviously, but I do think that there is reports that playing through those injuries might have impacted him now, and I do think we are seeing that a little bit certainly with the speed and the strength. He will now not even run defenders. He won't even. I'm not saying he's a great dribbler, but he won't even hit and run like he used to. So yeah, no. Look, I mean, I think looking at the squad, that are players that I like, Mesrari, Delict, willing to sort of continue with Martinez, albeit again struggling after that. Never been the same after that severe injury, for whatever reason. I know they botched the surgery, which is, it's just this is what I mean. It's the club as a general, like broken metatarsal. Best centre half ends up having 3 surgeries with it. And look, I don't want to get into the medical science of it. I don't know what happened, but it just seems to be like we just balls simple stuff up, like. And he's not been the same since then. But yeah, willing to give him a go, obviously. Ugarte, Mainu, and Ahmad. And honestly, the rest, for me, I've got to be available to go. Because, I mean, look, Højlund, Young, but Young doesn't mean he's going to get better. What if this is it? And if this is it, it's not good enough. It's simple as that. We can't keep doing this. Everyone keeps saying the 21, the 20... But are they going to get better? Because
this is what's been happening with Rashford. And how old's the guy now?
27, exactly. It's like...
And we're still talking about potential. We're still talking about potential with a guy that's 27. The guy's in his prime. He needs to be hitting numbers at this point.
What people do is...
He's got one more good contract left at this point.
I know. What people do is, they do this, don't they, where they go, he's young, he's raw. Is he good, though? I don't care how old he is. I'm sorry. This notion where it's like, yeah, he's been shite for 15 games, but he's 20. I don't care. I'm focusing on why has he been shit for 15 games. Højlund, he's only got 10 goals, but he's young. But is he ever going to get 25 goals? Because just because he's 20, what is he, 21, Højlund? Just because he's 21 doesn't mean that when he's 24 he's going to increase his goal output by 200%. It's like, it's just...
Do you think this is a bit of a, from a United fan's perspective, do you think this is a bit of a problem with Man United as a club that they've always chased? Since obviously you had that crazy era with the academy, you've always chased it since. And then you've resulted with players like Tom Cleverley getting years at the club. Yeah. Danny Welbeck. Even some people now I still see saying, oh, I'd take Welbeck back. Like, don't get me wrong, Welbeck's had a good career at like Brighton doing what he's doing. He's having a good season. But the fact you've still got fans saying that, it does suggest a problem where academy players get way too much leeway. Whereas the one thing I noticed at City, which don't get me wrong, we're going too far the other way. We're shipping them off, and then they're coming back and haunting us a year later. But
no, you make
it.
At
the same time, we have had the balance where we know you're putting them in the first team, first few games. You know if they're not cutting it. And if they're not cutting it, they get moved on. There's no sort of like love lost with them. This love affair United seem to have with average players that seem to end up getting 2-3 years at the football club.
You make it. It's a brilliant point, and I do think that the class of '92 has impacted the sort of future academy promotion of this club, and we do it. It honestly, it's oh look. I mean, at least Rashford has reached some heights, and I don't want to
Yeah.
focus too much on Rashford because he was there in some tough moments and part of some really bad attacks that we've had, and he did carry us in certain instances from being absolutely shocking to okay. And however, like you said, Jesse Lingard getting to the age of 28 at this club was insane. You look at,
Yeah.
and now I'm looking at Garnacho and I'm thinking, are we going to be 7 years on now? He'll have had 300 appearances for this club, and we're still going to be saying he needs somebody at left back behind him. He needs to play in this position. It's like, no, is he good? If he's not good, sell. And like, yes, like you said, you've gone City too far, but you were winning. You did win the treble. You won 4 leagues in a row.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
rubbish at giving these guys 5 years off the bat. It's just it's like you going, oh, Iheanacho scored a couple of goals. Let's give him till 2020.
Yeah. Little things like that. I think with City as well.
But it's about talent ID, innit? It's about recognising that talent from an
Yeah.
early age, and we're not doing
But
it.
that is where the fundamentals from the bottom to the top of the club need to be better. You know, we've been speaking on and off all the time about it, and United as a structure since Fergie left has been rotten from the core, and it takes a lot to get rid of that. Don't get me wrong, Ten Hag needed to go. The guy was clueless, but on the contrary, you need to look at other things as well. These players that ultimately were a part of his demise were also not good enough, and they should be going with him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So there can't just be a one-sided thing, because you're going to get the same thing with Amorim. Amorim's going to get rid of all of them.
Yeah,
I can't see Amorim. He's going to keep a set few. I think Bruno will survive. Like you say, there's a couple.
Yeah.
I think if they're willing to adapt to his system, he'll give them a chance. I think he's shown that already. That if you're going to play my way and you're going to put the effort in, I'll give you a go. But ultimately, if you're lazy, you've got an ego problem. I can't see them lasting. They'll probably get to the summer and they'll be gone.
Brilliant news for me. I mean, look, Fernandes for me needs to go because he another one that's inconsistent and has been really post Ollie. He's a stat padding number 10, reckless number 10, who doesn't have great stats.
Bruno as well. He should not be allowed in his own half.
No.
To be
honest, right? Amorim has kicked
such a liability.
He has kicked the launching it from like you said, inside your own half to one of the fast guys. He has stopped that a little bit. Hence why the possession stats are up, because Fernandes isn't as reckless as he was under Ten Hag and Ollie to a degree. But what he can't fix is that Fernandes in the final third just isn't that good. It's like you can sort him not handing the ball back all the time, but you can't stop him over hitting crosses all the time, missing really good chances, and he missed a lot yesterday. We didn't score a goal yesterday, and our XG was like 2.67, and normally XG is quite harsh. When you create a lot, you think, I bet our XG was about 5 today, and it's never. So our XG was 2.6. We scored 0, and he probably had Fernandes had 2 or 3 himself. Like I said, he's a modern day Frank Lampard who doesn't score the goals Lampard did.
Yeah.
Simple as that. He's just and he doesn't fit this left number 10 that's being squashed in. But just on Amorim, he is not faultless at all at the minute. It's the second home game in a row after Forest that he has just recklessly subbed anyone on, and we have lost complete control of the game. So I can't remember when the subs were yesterday, so you have to forgive me, but it was either 1-0 or 2-0. Might have been 1-0. I think it was before the penalty. So he subbed Malacia at half time, which is fine. He was awful. He had to come off. Subbed Malacia at half time. He then...
Who did you bring on from Malacia?
It was Yoro, and reshuffled the back line.
Okay.
So, not ideal, obviously. Dallo right wing back, then he's left wing back, and then Dallo will get slagged off for being rubbish, even though he was rubbish. So then he goes. Then you see Hoyland and Garnacho getting ready to come on. And I'm sat there thinking, right, okay, well, Mainu or Fernandez is coming off here, right? It's got it, right? He subs Ugarte and Xerxes. So Xerxes for Højlund, straight swap. He subs Ugarte. So now we've got a 3-4-3 with Fernandez and Mainu in centre mid. And we had,
I mean, that's bad. I didn't know.
Forrest was similar again, just completely went reckless with the subs, and he's just subbing anyone on. We got Xerxes number 10, and it's like, look, he will get time, and I think he's got very good football brain, but just you cannot recklessly throw games away like that. And then obviously Mazraoui legs someone up for no reason, so it's not like I'm saying. But it's never going to work. Any football fan in the world will know Mainu and Fernandez in a midfield too is not going to work. He's doing reckless things. I know Fergie did to a degree, but it's when the last 10 minutes maybe okay. But when this was the 50th minute at 1-0 down. You know the game's there.
Yeah, you're risking humiliation.
Like to just go and just do. It's like almost just pulling squad numbers out of a hat on the bench and subbing him on. It's like. You've got to keep the structure, you know. Yeah, there's times when you go, Fergie did it, Vidic up top for 5 minutes. This is like, you can't, towards the end of the half.
Yeah, you can't be doing that with a half to go.
We created some chances towards the end of the half. It wasn't that bad. And then, the subs happen and we get worse. And obviously at City it was a bit more controlled. And maybe because he, like you said, he thought, well, I can't go reckless today. It'll end up 4-0, albeit. You know, the current City probably wouldn't have done that. But it's like, it's Bournemouth at home, I'll just sub anyone on. So he's not faultless, and he has got to do better. He can't be playing plays like Malacia. They're rubbish. Don't do it. He can't control the ball. The ball rolling under his foot 5 minutes into the game. What? Don't play him then. You know, is he that much better in training? So he's.
Do you think sometimes with this? Do you think sometimes with these, I've noticed with like new managers that come in and Amorim strikes as the kind of guy that will do this to almost prove a point and be like, look, this is what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Put guys in.
Them out there. Yeah, of course. You've got to put, in a way, it's like reverse market shopping, isn't it? You're not putting Malacia out there.
By the way, I'm not saying he's doing it. I'm just saying that it's a situation where I'm kind of reserving my judgment on Amorim anyway.
Of course, I am. Look, I think there's been progression. I think we've got to be fair, though. I mean, obviously.
You've got to have a balance.
This is our first recording. So unfortunately, there's no sort of video evidence of me absolutely hammering Ten Hag. But I've got to be fair. Like, I can't completely just ignore real rash decision making from the manager.
Yeah,
however, he gets a pass clearly. I'm not saying like.
Yeah, he's not immune to criticism whatsoever, and he's going to face that for the rest of the season. It doesn't matter whether he's players or not.
And look, he hasn't signed any of this lot. The previous manager spent 600 million, and we're in the bottom half. So clearly, there's it's not on Amorim at all, and he needs transfer windows, and he needs to sell, and he needs to buy, and then you'll get a fairer reflection of it. And you like to think the things that have gone well so far, elements of control that we've had in big games, creating a lot of chances. But you can also say to him, why are we conceding off set pieces? Why are you playing some players that look an absolute shell of a footballer? And why is your substitutes completely reckless? And I think they're fair questions to ask at this stage. Definitely. So, but yeah, look, I mean, we've got Wolves next. So they won 3-0 yesterday.
Wolves away.
Yeah, and they've got like their. But look, you got to start picking up wins like this. We can all praise Amorim and say he's doing a bit better, but you can't keep losing games like. So again, it's another biggie, and it's weird. It's saying it's a big game when the league's completely lost. I mean, top four. I don't even know how many points off. I'm not even counting. But it's like just for confidence and for the fans to see wins. So you got to go and start winning games, haven't you?
Well, we're both in a similar situation where we're kind of just limping to
Yeah.
January and hoping. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
what kind of situation United are in, as in signings wise. Obviously,
Financially, I
the
don't think
FFP
there's a lot.
controls it these days.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think there's a lot available, to be honest. From obviously, I listened to Talk of the Devil's pod, and they obviously the athletic lads know a lot more than your average fan, and I think they
yeah,
were saying that there's just limited funds available because they had to sell McTominay to sign Agate. This
yeah,
is where we were in the summer. So obviously, if they can shift Rashford, I would imagine that would be huge FFP because he's homegrown. Because like McTominay went for 30 mil, I think, but it almost means way more in FFP because he was
yeah.
academy player. So obviously, maybe this explains the situation around Rashford a bit clearer. They're thinking, if we can get him out the door, we can sign.
Mhm.
So we'll see
And the
what happens.
huge wages the guy's on as
And
well.
the huge salary. So obviously, that might be a bit of the thought process as well as the form and the attitude and the other stuff. But maybe they're
Yeah,
thinking we are desperate here. We desperately need to get someone out the door, and he's number one on our list. So we'll see. Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. I think we're Boxing Day as well, but we might be the late kickoff. So yeah, we'll see. We'll get some. We need to do some predictions for the Boxing Day games, I think.
yeah,
Send them in
definitely.
and try and get them on the screen now, and we'll have a review of them post Boxing Day on the next pod and see where we got. Bit of a scoring system, see how we do on our predictions till the end of the season, and get a little bit of a leaderboard between me and you.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, we'll go from there. So yeah, we'll try and get the predictions on for the next one for anybody that watches. And we'll catch up. With it being Christmas, might be difficult, but we'll see what we can do and try and get post Boxing Day, but before the next games if we can. And
Yeah,
yeah, try and hit it
sounds good.
with two. Try and do two a week in a traditional week of Thursday, Friday, or Monday, Tuesday. Try and do the pods on those 2 days.
Yeah.
Either side of the weekend before Champions League and Europa will work out pretty well, I think. And yeah,
Well, let's just hope our moods will improve as the weeks
oh,
go on, because at the
honestly,
minute it's dire.
oh,
I think I'll be crawling to the next podcast.
I
To be honest,
can't.
if we don't get a result against Everton, I don't even know. I
Yeah,
might put a bally on and come on here.
it's honestly yesterday was it was infuriating. It was horrible to watch. Honestly, can't pass it 10 yards. They better be able to pass it 10 yards against Wolves. I'm telling you. And Malacia best not be at left back letting the ball run under his foot. Just yeah, they just some of them look like crap five-a-side players you've got in as a ringer from work. When you're like you've not got enough players for five-a-side and you're asking randomly
Yeah,
for work. That's what Malacia was like yesterday. You're right, mate. Can you fill in for us tonight? Yeah. Digs out some old footy boots, turns up and don't know what a football looks like.
Turns up in the old Sondico specials.
Yeah. Turns up in like the lost property football kit and a pair of dusty trainers. God, anyway, but yeah, I think it's a good place to wrap it. I suppose before we go, do you want to touch on our other favourite club from the Northwest, looking like they're going to ramp?
Yeah.
They were good yesterday. It pains me to say it, but
I mean, we spoke a bit, didn't we, about them before the game, and I predicted a high-scoring game. I didn't think it'd be high-scoring. I did also think that the way Tottenham play and Ange plays into Liverpool's hands perfectly.
Yeah.
That came true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just mental. The way they play is crazy.
Especially with the makeshift back. I mean, to have three of your back five out, goalkeeper included, and still, four of your back, because I think Udogie missed. So Udogie, Romero, Van der Ven, and Vicario all injured. And he still plays like that with Archie Gray.
Yeah, he doesn't sway from it, which is like admirable on one side, but at the same time, you've got, as a top manager, you've got to have a bit of, balance to it and think, well, I can't be getting embarrassed.
They decimated him. I mean, Liverpool look good. I mean, as well, there's elements to this where they look sharp. They look faster, stronger, fitter than every team in the league at the minute. And I thought they might be feeling it a bit. You look at that, you go Tottenham away after 2 draws, and this 11-point lead's dwindled a bit. Chelsea go and draw 0-0, and they go and lamp them
Yeah.
6-3 away, and it could have been 10. I mean, they were rampant, Liverpool. They look strong, man. I mean, it's going to take it would take some collapse now for them the way they're playing. Arsenal are going to have to win every game. Because Chelsea look like they're going to probably have a few of these games, like yesterday.
Yeah, I don't even think Arsenal are in the equation the way they play, because they're in a similar situation. Obviously, I'm not saying we are in crisis. I'm not saying they're in an exact situation as ours, but they also can't score. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
Prior to yesterday,
bringing
really
Jesus in. Yeah, Jesus had to come in. I can't believe he'd not done that earlier. And I recognise striker. I know he's not prolific, but he's a striker. Havertz is not a striker, and he doesn't score. So finally,
I think he scored 7 goals in the last year, and 5 of them have come in last week.
But hasn't Jesus? Yeah, Jesus has got. Did he get a hat-trick yesterday? Was it yesterday?
I think he got a brace yesterday.
Hat-trick in the Carabao. So he's got 5 in 3 days. I mean,
5 in the last week and 7 in the year.
But you know, when Arteta, this team was sort of built, and they were very impressive 2 years ago. Strong last year, not as flary. And then, obviously, this year they've just turned into what looks like a Mourinho team. Jesus was the striker to start this team off when they were impressive. And so he's got to stick with that. I mean, this Havertz up top, I mean, what is he doing? Because the team structurally is good.
Jesus is a good player as well. Like, for us, he always did a job. Like, we started playing him as a right winger towards the end. Do you remember when we had Ferran Torres? We ended up with like this weird team of like Torres as a 9.
Yeah.
Some games. I mean, the 9 would rotate because we'd have a false 9, but we'd have Torres there sometimes, Foden, Bernardo even. I mean, Pep lost his marbles once and put Zinchenko there. Apparently, that's what made Jesus go. Yeah. But the weird thing is, he's now gone to Arsenal. Arteta obviously don't trust him. They need to get a striker in. But like you say, for the rest of the year, they've got to roll with at least some sort of a traditional number 9. He is going to get you some goals. And he's better than Havertz anyway. Like, generally, he's better.
It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
In terms of title race, I don't put them in it. I'd say Chelsea have got the best hope of launching something.
And obviously they look like they're going to have those games like yesterday. Albeit Everton, in fairness, look, Everton can dig in and get results against anyone. But yeah, obviously, yesterday was a big swing, wasn't it? I mean, Liverpool really, it's not just the win, is it? It's to go and absolutely obliterate them. Diaz and Salah get 2 each. Szoboszlai could have had about 4 himself as well. It's like, you know, fair play to Slot. He has got them playing, and they're a really, really strong side to play against. That midfield, I mean, Gravenberch is a ridiculous find for them. I mean, to go from Endo last year, who they scraped in the market, to now Gravenberch roaming round like Kante, it's what an absolute find that is for Slot. And fair play to Slot, because nobody picked that.
No.
People that came into the season, not one person went, don't sign a DM because we've got Gravenberch.
Of all what makes me laugh, right? Of all the Ten Hag Dutch signings, and he doesn't pick him.
Yeah, I know. And he's roaming round yesterday, knocking Bissouma and Sarr about on his own. McAllister's class on the ball.
No, he's unreal, man. He's top notch.
Szoboszlai at number 10 is like leading this ridiculous high press with Diaz and Gap. I mean, Tottenham were just battered. I mean, but yeah, I mean, look, props to you. Got to give it. You got to tip your hat, and you like Klopp had this team last year and was nowhere near this good.
Not only that, I think with Klopp obviously played a certain way of football, which was exciting.
Yeah.
But Slot's brought in this efficiency, hasn't he? And they're just dispatching. Games they're not playing well in, they're winning. Games they're struggling to get over the line, they do. So they got that sort of. They look a bit more polished but athletically they just look dominant. They look like they can run you off the pitch. And obviously Scholes said that after the United game. And I know, we're probably the unfittest team in the league, so it's probably not a great comparison, but. Scholes said it. He said he was pitch side for the 3-0 game. Ten Hag was still there at the time, and he said
what struck him the most was like the running power of them all over the pitch. And
Yeah.
you name them, you go, well, Gravenberch, Soboslai, Gakpo, Diaz, Konate. Like, I know that Robertson's regressed a little bit athletically, but still, like, that centre of the pitch is like where they're really Diaz, to have Diaz, Soboslai, and Gravenberch in a basically a line. I mean, look, let's see what happens, like you said, but you know,
Yeah, it's a
rampant.
long season, but I mean, other than we don't know what team's going to do in January, but everyone's so
No.
restricted.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. I can't see City need to do drastic surgery because of like the issues
Open
we
heart
spoke
surgery,
about.
like Rangnick said.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
So
thing.
I
United did
think
do that. We did do the open heart surgery, but we just let Mister
now
Bean
you
do
need
it.
now you need another one.
Yeah. Now we need another open heart surgery. Honestly, let's just not let an absolute div this time do it.
Yeah, facts.
But yeah, okay. Should we wrap it?
Yeah, man, definitely, it's been good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks for joining us and thanks for listening. If anybody does listen, if not, catch you on the next one. Cheers, Christian.
Yeah, man,
See ya.
awesome. All right, see you in a bit.